you left Mark Cuban, did you start Legacy Night right off the bat, or did you
Yes.
transition?
Yeah.
And then what motivated you to, or maybe not motivated, but what, is it just you wanted to have your own thing? Like what made you?
It was kind of the entrepreneurial bug.
Just being around it for 7 years, you're
yes.
like, I want to do it myself.
And then my co-founder, Matt, he's the architect. He had the idea. He was in the family office and multifamily office world. I loved the idea. And we were able to launch it late 2019. And fast forward 5 years. It's been 5 years.
Congratulations.
I think we got ranked as recently by CityWire as the fastest growing RIA in Texas.
Wow.
So it's quite an honor.
Yeah.
So as you know, I ran a mass affluent, high net worth a shop, Sovereign Wealth Management out of Memphis, and we took a single family on and ran family office services for them. And it was because they wanted high touch services, and we were in Memphis, so we didn't have Goldman Sachs or some of the players. And this particular family said, no, we want somebody here on the ground. And we cohabitated with them. They shared offices. And through that, we gained some other family office clients. And what I found was and these were people transitioning out of a liquidity event. And what I found the biggest value add is we were writers of investment policy statements. And it was shocking to me when people became liquid that it wasn't in their mindset to create a business plan around their wealth.
Yes.
And you know, my dialogue with them was, well, you didn't run your business without a plan, did you? Why would you run? Your wealth is now your business. So we wrote investment policy statements. They had an asset allocation model. It was driven by a required rate of return. In some cases, we had clients where the required rate of return was below the T-bill rate, right? And so the question became, all right, well, you don't have to take any risk. You could literally bury your money in the backyard and just go pull out cash as needed,
right?
And be fine. You won't outlive your resources. So now, what is the goal, right? What? And it was always interesting to, a lot of it was philanthropic,
right?
And other things, but. I found that writing the investment policy, putting the structure around them and the discipline, which I don't know if you have this experience or not, when really bad or really good things happen, they tend to want to alter their asset allocation to accommodate that. So one of the challenges is to kind of hold everybody's feet to the fire and say, no, we wrote this so that we would be disciplined.
It's important. That's the starting point.
Yeah.
That's the plan, right? So, to your point, because I used to see it a lot. Working with entrepreneurs, they're so disciplined and they know every aspect of their business and they have a plan. And they also have a plan on who to sell the business to or if they want to IPO. Yeah. But they have no plan for the day after.
Yeah.
Right? And to your point, that's where kind of family offices or wealth management firms or multifamily office can really help guide the entrepreneurs. And it's important ideally to start engaging with a wealth management firm way before the exit. I think once you have line of sight, that's when you need to start engaging and putting a plan together.
Right.
Because typically, also there's some opportunities to reduce your tax liability if you do it right and you do it earlier than later. Because sometimes after the fact, you're scrambling.
Yeah.
Just a quick anecdote, just because I keep hearing it. One thing that I have learned in the last couple of years is if you hear somebody say they sold their company, they probably made $100,000 or something. If they said they exited,
it's all in the terminology.
So that's just something for the audience. If you hear, and I think it's true because I've never heard anybody who made a lot say they sold. They say they exited, but somebody that made not so much, they always sold.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you agree or disagree with that kind of
I've heard that
statement.
Yeah. I don't know. I think maybe in general, but I've heard both. Yeah. Like entrepreneurs that sold for a lot of money and they either say exit or I guess I don't think it's a rule.
I know. It's just I think it's just funny.
So when I started a family office and realized I was going to be in that business, I went to family office exchange conferences. I don't know if they're still a thing or not.
There's a lot of them.
Out of Chicago. Well, this was the family office exchange Fox out of Chicago. And I remember the first one I went to, there were 10 or 12 of us there, and we were all in family office business, and none of them were profitable but me. And they were all using an accounting model, right? They were counters, and they hadn't figured out how to charge a fee, that made sense. Mine was an asset management fee. I charged a percent on the total assets that were under the investment policy. And if the value went up, I got a raise, and if the value went down, I took a cut in pay. I did find there was service creep. They'd want you to solve this problem over here, and then once you solved it, you had to solve that problem every time. And then, I don't know if you, and that was the dog walking,
the
sort of stuff.
That's the saying in the family office world.
Can y'all define that real quick?
Ancillary services that aren't necessarily tied to investing, but I literally walked a dog.
So I will say, because I think that's universal, because you can ask Naomi. We don't walk dogs, but we do a lot of stuff outside of scope, just to satisfy.
I walked a dog on New Year's Eve.
Every business, you got to satisfy your clients. But to your point, MFOs, you typically charge an AUM-based fee. That is, based specifically on the capital that you're managing for them.
Right.
But that is inclusive, especially if it's a certain amount of capital, that it's going to be inclusive of all the other services. So it's based on the expectation you set up front.
Yeah, right.
If you say, hey, we're going to do it all, you're setting
up
yourself.
Price it in. You better price it in.
You better price it in, or you're setting yourself up for failure. And that's where, to your point, it could really eat up your margins, because you end up spending a lot of time on some of the dog walking services where kind of you are hired really to manage money and generate that return.
Right.
Well, I think that's one of those lessons that, we're trying to, for me, part of this project is to learn to be a better business owner myself, but also altruistically help the audience be a better business owners themselves as well. And just getting everything in writing and scoping out everything and maintaining that scope versus just, like you said, walking a dog. And because it's so easy to be like, I could take care of that. And then all of a sudden, that's a new function
a dog walker
all the time. Where it's like, I was just babysitting for the day. I didn't know how to do it every day now.
Right.
And I think that's just one of those things of realize your worth and have those boundaries and sticking to the boundaries and just realizing that it's okay to say no.
Well, also it's okay. You're right. It's okay to say no. And sometimes entrepreneurs, if you get your first big client, you're going to do whatever it takes.
Exactly.
But over time, as you figure out kind of your business model, you have to adjust and go back and say, look, this is moving forward. This is going to be kind of these are the parameters of what we're going to be providing for you, and at this revised cost. There's a chance you might lose that customer, but if you do it right and you are providing value, they're going to stick with you. But you have to figure out sooner than later where to adjust. Otherwise, it's going to eat up your margins, and then you're going to have an issue as a business in terms of just.
Well, even with my business, we had a very large customer client last fall, early first quarter, late last quarter, and it was a $200,000 gig. $200,000 for our size company for a 2 to 3 month project is amazing. But once that turns into an 8-month project, because you don't set the boundaries, all of a sudden you could potentially be bankrupt.
That's right,
And that's, it literally, I learned a lot, but I'm still learning. I learned I needed to go to business school. So, but again, though, it's having those boundaries. And I think, every entrepreneur, every business person, either they learn it from a trusted mentor or they learn it the hard way.